In the news this week, Christian persecution around the world is on the rise. The Institute says traditional views on marriage must be respected. And gambling on credit cards is set to be banned. Hello. A new report has revealed that around 260 million Christians worldwide are suffering high levels of persecution, 15 million more than last year. The Open Doors World Watch List, which lists the 50 countries where persecution is at its worst, was presented to MPs on Wednesday. The charity also estimates that almost 3,000 Christians were killed because of their faith last year. North Korea remains the most dangerous place on earth to be a Christian, but Open Doors UK CEO Henrietta Blythe says there are worrying developments in China.
China has rocketed up our World Watch List over the last 2 years. They changed the religious regulations in February 2018. Xi Jinping's government seems to be concerned about the so-called westernising influence of Christianity. We've seen churches closed, we've seen pastors imprisoned. It's no longer possible to buy Bibles online. People under the age of 18 can't attend Sunday school or church.
In July last year, the Bishop of Truro published a review of Christian persecution. The government has now said it will adopt the bishop's recommendations. As a result, it will introduce sanctions for countries that persecute Christians and introduce mandatory religious literacy training for Foreign Office staff. People who believe marriage is the union of one man and one woman must continue to be respected in Northern Ireland, the Christian Institute has said. Speaking on BBC Radio Ulster, the Institute's Simon Calvert said public order laws need to be fully updated to protect all those who disagree with the new law. Mr Calvert welcomed changes that the government had made following a threat of legal action, but said it had to do more. And referencing the Ashes Baking Company case, he said the courts had recognised that it was a belief that was worthy of respect.
I think the important thing going forward is how we talk about the issue. There are many people in Northern Ireland who have always believed and will always believe that marriage can only be the union of one man and one woman. And so they will continue to hold that belief and they'll continue to express it. And it's important to remember that it is a belief which is worthy of respect in a democratic society. That's what the courts have said. That's why Ashes Baking Company won their case at the UK Supreme Court. So it's going to be important going forward that we make sure that all the proper protections are in place so that people who hold that view and continue to hold that view are treated with respect.
A landmark legal challenge has been launched at the High Court against the NHS Gender Identity Development Service. Susan Evans, a former GIDS employee, says children are too young to give informed consent to medical interventions for apparent gender confusion. The psychiatric nurse says she's concerned the clinic is rushing children, many of whom are autistic, into life-altering decisions and that the drugs on offer are experimental.
They've lowered the age group for this experimental treatment. It's an off-licence treatment. The drug was not developed for the purpose for which it's being used. And I used to feel concerned it was given to 16-year-olds, but now the age limit has been lowered, and children as young as perhaps 9 or 10 are being asked to give informed consent to a completely experimental treatment for which the long-term consequences are not known.
Using credit cards to gamble is set to be banned from the middle of April. Neil MacArthur, the Gambling Commission's chief executive, said the ban should reduce the risk of people gambling with money they do not have. MacArthur said his organisation knows of examples of consumers who have accumulated tens of thousands of pounds of debt through gambling because of credit card availability. Payment services such as PayPal are also expected to be included in the ban. NHS Mental Health Chief Claire Murdoch has also spoken out, saying gambling firms must stop encouraging problem gamblers to spend more money. Well, that's all for this week. For regular updates and information on all of our stories, plus much more, visit our website at christian.org.uk. Until next time, goodbye.